stay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, can we turn off the light? Because yeah, that's looking a little rough. Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. It should be fine. So my name is Tommy Wu, and I'm in honors biology this year. My topic for 20% project is photography. So my passion about photography is basically I'm always being a very enthusiastic photographer, and I have done 5 different kinds of photography for this particular project. And my presentation will include natural photography, landscape photography, some portrait, some artistic, just etc., and some photography work I have done in Worcester Academy. So the first part is going to be my natural photography. So the title is Nature the Magnificent. It's basically a pretty artistic title, and I like it. And I'll talk a little bit of background when I'm shooting all of these pictures. So this is basically a tree that I shot from 3 months ago. It's a pretty famous tree in my hometown, Xi'an, China. It's according to legend, it's there for 1,300 years. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a very old tree and it's very famous. It's in a Buddhist temple in Shanxi province, and it's a very good photo that I took in mid-December. And the second photo is a flower that I took during spring break when I went back to China. I was basically like walking around the corner, and I was like seeing all these plants and grasses. I saw this like really beautiful white flower standing out in all of the grasses, so I just took a shot. It's a pretty random picture, but it's pretty beautiful. It's a white flower, and I like it a lot. And the third picture is also a plant that I shot on campus here in Worcester Academy in December. It's because December is pretty cold this year and last year actually, and the plants were like falling and dying. This plant is almost like dying, and it's falling. It's like going down, and I was walking by the street, like the quad, like the side of the quad, like where Stoddard and Hayden is on one side, and like quad is on the other side. And I was like walking through the quad, and I was cutting the quad, but I don't know if that's a good thing to do. But I took this shot, and I give it a monochrome look. I like it a lot. And this is a bird, a group of birds I shot in Boston in early winter or late fall, you would call it. It's in September, and like between September and October. It's a very good shot. I took it like I have to like burst mode my camera, and I took like 20 shots at one time, like in one click, and I got like these beautiful photos here. And they were really good, and I give this one a monochrome look. I picked like one of the best ones, so it's a really good shot. And this is the squirrel I shot in Boston Commons, inside and outside. So it's on the grass. I was sitting on the grass, and I was like, okay, that's a squirrel. I have to like sneak up onto it, like very closely. I have to get a shot because I got a 200mm lens. I can't like get too far, but so I have to sneak up, and I have to take this shot, and I have to like basically walk away quietly, or it's gonna just run away. So this is a really hard shot to get. I was like laying on the ground, and I was holding my camera. I can't really take a clean shot, and it took me like whole 15 minutes for this shot. And the second part is landscape, venture into landscape. It's my landscape part of the photography work I've done for the project, and I have some photos here to pass down. We only got 4 audiences here, but that's sad, but I can do that. So this is a very good landscape shot that I took when I went back to China during Thanksgiving break, and it was a really good shot. It was a very famous tourist attraction in China, and I took this shot. It was very a very tilted shot, but I have to fix it after I took it with software, and I basically give it another monochrome look because I really like the monochrome style photo, and I did this shot. It's really good. It came out pretty good, and there's I think there's a ship right here, and there's city towns back in the mountains. I took this shot. It's perfect composition, and I like it a lot. Yeah.
How would you be able to improve that?
I got processed after the presentation, all these photos.
Could you use, say, a filter set?
Yeah. Yeah, I used some monochrome filters.
For here?
Yeah.
While you were shooting?
No, not physical filters, but I've used physical filters for some of these photos I got. This is also a tourist attraction in China, and it's a private property. I don't know if it's illegal for me to be inside of this, but I took this shot because there's the lake, the surface of the lake, reflecting everything, the mountains and the trees, and they're really it's really symmetrical, and I like it. So I just took the shot. It's very low resolution here because Google Slides limit, but I managed to put this onto it, but it might not see very perfectly here. I think I got a physical copy here, if you guys can see it. This was in Worcester Academy on campus. It was after 3:30 in November, I think. It was a day after school, and I took this shot. It was sunset because we got sunset is going to be around 4:30 in November, so it's really early, and I got this beautiful picture, and the sun was going down, and I was it's almost being this part should be big, or it's better Hayden, I think. It goes down a little bit more, I might not get it. So it was a perfect timing.
What's the
fifth category is Worcester Academy, just WA.
Isn't this WA2?
Yeah, but I have some separate works to show. Yeah. Yeah, and this was the same place that I took the shot earlier here. This shot here is similar, just shifted right a little bit. It's the same location, and but it was different time. It was almost midnight, almost 12 o'clock p.m. and I took this shot because of the lighting is really good, and sun was going straight down, sunlight was going straight out of the cloud and to the mountains. It's really good, and I really like it. So next part is humans. This is George, the junior, transferred out of Worcester Academy in the first semester. I was in Morrisville. We were playing about around with the drones, the DJI drones, and it was a really nice day. It was around 4 o'clock, and one important thing about this photograph is I encountered some lighting issues, but it was backlight. The sun was actually coming back from this person into my camera. I thought that's going to be a really bad photograph, but I took it. It's actually kind of fun. It's artistic. It's not showing everything clearly, but it's artistic. So I kept it. Yeah.
How did you determine the camera setting?
I have some explanations after all of these pictures, how I choose my lens and camera for different occasions. But and this is this guy sitting right here, and I gave this camera to him as a birthday gift, and I was holding my camera as well, like looking at him, and I used like actually a physical filter for this. It's basically an ND filter that reduces like shutter speed, and I was taking this shot and came out pretty well. Like the background, this is actually like the table in the dorm, and that was like the wall. There's like no obvious boundary between those two, thanks to the filter and some contrast tuning after I took the shot. So it came out pretty well. So this was like our first home game, for cross country in the fall season. It's in like late October, early November, something like that. It's in New Balance field. It's like our first home game and the only one. So I was taking my camera because my two coaches asked me to. I was a manager on the team, and I took this shot like when Ishin, who is like our best runner in JV team, running out of the forest and the jungle, whatever you call it, like in New Balance. There's a track like around the New Balance, and he was running out of it, and took that shot. So it was a pretty random shot, but it came out well. So this is Clark. He's one of the 3 class officers for freshman class. This is actually, I'm using Visco photo for this, so it's not like kind of professional shot, but it was study hall. I was not supposed to be like doing photography for like during study hall, but this is like biology 20%, so yeah. Yeah, I use Visco photo for this. This is actually not like professional tuning stuff. And this is my roommate, my awesome roommate. He's Alan, and great person. This was like taken like around the same time as this one. There's also Visco photo on this. This is not like professional tuning, but it came out really well. Like his face was sitting right in the middle of the photograph and give it a very monochrome look and high contrast. Make everything bright is really good. So this is like Worcester Academy 2018 to 2019. I was performance center. I just like the composition of this particular photograph. It's like very streamlining and very like vertical and looks like very geometrically beautiful. So I just took this shot, and there's no like particular reason why I took it, but it's just I think it's cool. And this was another like shot with physical filter on it. This was Warner Theater, and I used like actually a brownish filter and a blue filter for this photograph. It's like the mountain. No, not the mountain. The sky like behind the Warner Theater is also like all covered by the filters, like the physical filter. There's a brown over top of a blue filter, and that's why like this part, like all of this part looks like brownish, like a tea-ish color. So this is a pretty good vertical shot I took with filter. I really like the color, so I didn't even tune this color. This color was like given by the physical filter. So, yeah. Yeah.
Is the top also the brown filter?
Yeah, like the top of the water is actually not like that dark.
I'm talking about the
Yeah, it's filter. Yeah, it's all filter. Like from like top of here, I think it's all filter. And this is Davol. It was before spring break. It was like pretty apocalyptic. Yeah, I think it was before spring break or before Christmas. It was before one of the 2 vacations, I'm pretty sure. And it was pretty apocalyptic look because it's only a week from like vacation, and we were like going and all that kind of stuff. We just don't want to stay in the dorm, so I was like trying to express that. But so this is another shot I took on campus. It's also after school. It was a pretty bright day, but this is not like actually the sunset. And I used blue filter for this, like a physical filter for a wide angle lens. I used blue filter on top of a ND filter so that I can make this beautiful like lighting here to to be very much clear, and the blue sky on top of it looks like really fake because you can't get like that kind of color on the sky. So it's obvious filter. And this is Kingsley. I took this shot, and this is also filter work. Like the sky on top is actually like brown, yellow, and orange, like 3 filters together. And I made this photograph. I like shot this photograph and with like 3 filters on top of each other, and it's really good. I like the brownish look of my photograph because I just kind of, my style is like brownish, dark, and monochrome. So this photograph is basically photo work, and it's pretty good. So, and this is some artworks I did like just for showing you guys. It's not no like particular reason behind these. This was in Shanghai Pudong International Airport. I was like, okay, this is a really good photograph, and there was like a Lufthansa Boeing 747 passing by, and there's like 2 catering cars right next to it. I just took the shot with my telephoto lens. I was like, because I'm taking my camera out for every airport run I did, so I basically just took this shot randomly, but it came out pretty well. Like the tip of the wing and the 2 catering cars came together really well. So this was in Vatican City during spring break, and I took this shot, I think, because there's no like kind of time to adjust composition and lighting for this shot because it was full of people in museum, and I basically took this shot and make it a pretty monochrome look. I tuned a little bit of contrast, and I did this like beautiful statue shot. And this was like a random bicycle like on the side of the street. It's monochrome. I just took it because it's good looking, I guess. It's like leaning against like the fence, and it was like put like on the side of the street, like random stuff. And this was a staircase in Davao. It was basically a handle of the staircase, and I was like, it was 3 o'clock, and the sun was like going straight through because we got like those windows like between like first floor and second floor of the dorm, and it was like a streamline of light just coming through, like going straight to the handle. I just took that shot and used visco photo for this. Pretty good. And this was also a statue work that I did in Vatican Museum. It's a really weird shot, I would say, because the original version of this is actually yellowish color with this, and there's like very low contrast, and I basically made it monochrome, and I tuned like, I overexposed the photo, and I did like a lot of contrast work on this. That's why you see these shadows, and the shadows in the statue's eyes is really like dark, and you couldn't see actually anything, but it's like darkish color, but I like the style of this kind of photo, so I took it. And this is some work I also did in Italy. This was the cathedral in Milan. It was, there's like a physical copy of this photo too. It's a colorful one, and I did this monochrome on this because I want to keep it consistent and keep everything like monochrome-ish and dark-ish look like on this presentation, because that's basically expression of my feeling when I'm doing the photography. And this was a landscape shot I did. It was the highest pixel count shot I've ever done in my life till now. It's like 200 million-ish pixels and really high contrast. I actually just spent like 2 days tuning this photo on Photoshop to like make it like as it is, and it's not even a wide angle shot. It's like actually 10 pictures using photo merge in Photoshop to put all of them together and to form this like long like landscape shot. So locations, first one is of course Worcester Academy, because I'm a boarding student here. I don't have like time or flexibility to go off campus to do the shots, and Xi'an, China is my hometown. I go back to my city every single time I think Thanksgiving, December break, and spring break. And I think Milan, Italy is where I took the cathedral shot, and Florence, Italy, where I took the long landscape shot. And Vatican City, where I did my statue works, in Shanghai, China. There's only one photo for that. It's like the airport one. I don't know why I did that, but I did that. So, and Dalian in China is like where I took all those landscape shots. I show the mountains and the lakes. That's where I took those shots. And so camera equipment I used, Canon EOS 80D. It's a pretty entry-level APS-C camera, and Canon EOS 5D Mark IV, my daily driver. Basically, I took 80% of my presentation shots with that camera and a Leica M9 for fun, I think. And lens equipment. I used one telephoto lens, three wide-angle lenses, one for Leica and 3 for Canon. I have to use 35mm lens for most of the time. It's really good focal length. 35 is actually doing everything. You can shoot everything with it, literally everything. You can shoot a person with it. You can shoot a mountain with it. You can shoot everything you want with the 35mm. And the 200 million pixel shot, I actually used the telephoto lens. I used that lens to take 10 consecutive shots, and I put them together to form that one single shot, single photograph. And so basically my process of learning. So the first thing I learned about during this 20% project about photography is not all about taking the shot, it's about deception. So photography is more importantly a visual deception. I think it's visually deceiving. So okay, when I took the shot with all the mountains and the mountain and lakes and boat thing, it's very likely you guys would think I'm taking I'm actually using my camera and just kneeling to the ground. And I took that shot. I'm actually sitting on top of a rooftop on a bar table to take that shot. And for the filter works, it's very obvious filter works, but that's kind of a visual deception using something like this. That's orange on top of a red filter and using flashlight to make everything bright. So it's basically visual deception because photography is not all about reality and composing beautiful images. It's about deception. I think that's the most important thing I've learned about photography. So choice about camera equipment, your settings, and your lens equipment. So for example, I would use the bird shot and squirrel shot I took in Boston Common. I obviously can't use a wide-angle lens or a Leica M9, a manual focus lens to do that. I have to use different lens and different camera for different kind of works. I always take a bag with me with 2 cameras and 2 lenses inside for every single different occasions to take shots, because I can't just taking one single camera with a telephoto that I need to shoot landscape on, I need to shoot nature on, I need to shoot people on. That's not how things work. And I learned about how to choose your camera and choose your lens equipment. So the third thing I knew about that I improved actually is lighting. So I didn't know how to use lighting, and I didn't know how to configure my aperture settings on the camera and ISO settings. So that's one thing I learned about through all of this course. I have to change my shutter speed. I was using full auto on my camera before I was doing this, because I was entry level. I don't know how to tune my camera. So now I know I have to tune aperture speed and ISO speed separately when I'm taking different shots to make perfect composition, not perfect composition, but perfect background lighting and perfect object lighting. Another thing about using lighting is flashlight. When I took his picture, I used individual TTL flashlights for those pictures just to make the background really bright. and beautiful. So another thing I learned is inspiration. So photography is not all about like shooting one single object that you want to do. Like, okay, today I just want to shoot like a bottle cap or a plastic water bottle. It's not all about like choosing one thing that you want to shoot. It's all about inspirations and random things. It's like not like you can't like actually choosing just one thing that you want to shoot, and you can make sure like you can like make a very beautiful photograph, like all of those like squirrel shots and the airport shot and like some of the shots on campus. It's actually all random. It's just inspiration. Like when you were walking with a camera, you actually saw that and think that's interesting, and I just take the shot. So it's not all about like just choosing a single object to shoot, and it's about inspiration and flexibility. So the last thing I learned is composition. I was doing pretty good before this project in composition. I just improved a little. Like when I take the statue shot, I know not to put like every single like object right dead at the center like of the photograph. That makes a really weird perspective. And I basically learned like all of these 5 things during this project. And I made some improvements, and I think I definitely learned a lot about photography during this time. And yeah, thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Which were the photos you took with the Leica?
There's a couple portrait that I took with it. There's like physical copies of picture like I didn't put on the presentation. There's some of that too. And I took with Leica, but it's only 1 or 2 shots because I'm not using it as a daily driver.
Yes, I know this part.
Yeah, it's manual focus, so.
What do you find to be the most challenging when you're composing a photograph?
It's basically angles and lightings. Because like when I'm taking like squirrel shot, I cannot like make my own move and it just ran away, or I can't like put actually a flashlight on top of the squirrel just to make everything looks perfect. So it's all about like random things, and this is not like experiment. I can't control everything like when I'm taking a particular object. So I think the most important thing is basically lighting and angle.
So when you do have that time to compose and you think about how you want to portray a photograph of an individual or a park or something like that, what do you find to be the most important and the most challenging to try and get right?
Expressions and motions of the object, if we're talking about portrait. So I have to like keep my like I'm not like a professional studio photographer, so I'm basically have to like, for instance, when I take his pictures, I didn't ask him to do like a particular movement or a particular motion or a particular like facial expression to make my shot perfect. I just want to keep them natural and give me more time to compose as much time as possible, but I can't really control a lot of things where that's going to be like an unnatural photograph when I'm like asking him to do a smiley face to me. So. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
So can you take the mic off?
Yeah, sorry. So.
Sandra, make sure you put your job on, please.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I'll try my best to keep it as fast as possible, because I've got a lot. Okay. I just want everyone to go home earlier. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Cassandra Wang, and I'm a junior here, and I'm from China. So my 20% project is on topics about homosexuality, including how to explain homosexuality scientifically, and of course, on a biological base. So first, I'd like to share the reasons why I chose this topic. Well, it was honestly a struggle for me to choose a topic because I was interested in so many different fields. But my final decision was not only for my own interest, it was also for all the other people of LGBT communities that are continuing to fight for equalities. So in China, LGBT is still more or less something that cannot be mentioned in TV shows or movies. I'm from a northeastern little city with winters much colder than it is here at Worcester. And it's beautiful, just like this picture. It's so beautiful. But standing at the unnoticeable corner of China, it is as well traditional and little cruel when it comes to homosexuality, and more generally, diversity. So homosexuality is unacceptable to my parents' generation and some people of my generation. An online survey showed that like over 90% of the LGBT people in this city chose to hide their identities away from the society because they are afraid that they would get bullied or unemployment because of their sexualities. And living in the 21st century, in order to avoid being politically incorrect or just to be polite, people would choose to say, oh, sure, I have nothing against homosexuals, or I would totally embrace diversity. But when it actually comes to their children, and they would just tell me that if my child comes out of the closet, I will break his leg. And they laughed as if it was a joke. But I know it wasn't, because my friend jumped from the top of a 15th floor building to forever avoid being beaten by her parents for being a lesbian. And so I just found there are so many people like think that homosexuality is against nature, or for the religious it is against God's will or something. I just decided to do a little bit research on how to explain it with real science. So, speaking of human evolution, we can't avoid talking about natural selection. Natural selection is an essential mechanism of human evolution, and it refers to different reproduction and survival rate of organisms that depends on their characteristics to let them survive the constantly changing environment. For example, if there is a horrible drought, only those who are able to walk long distance to find water source, or those who are able to bear thirst for a long time could survive. Then when the survivors reproduce with each other, their offsprings can also contain a gene that let their parents survive the environment. Therefore, within several generations, the genes of this certain species become much more developed. This is natural selection, to select the more adaptable genes of organisms and pass them on through reproduction. However, I had a question when it comes to homosexuality. Since most homosexual couples do not have children, if the so-called gay genes actually exist, how could it be passed on through generations to generations from the beginning of its existence to till now? It doesn't fit the theory of natural selection. So I decided to further my research. So before talking about homosexual behavior among humans, let's take a look at these among animals. So on the left side, even though those African lions usually have society of a lot of females led by one male, sometimes a certain percentage of them would form a male-only group, and they would behave just like any other street couples in other groups. And on the right, almost 8% of the rams would form male-to-male pairs throughout their lifetime and never touch the females. These couples do not mate, but other than that, they're exactly just like any other street couples. And apparently these rams are now so popular among farmers because they are expected to reproduce. And some young male giraffes would mate with other male giraffes before they actually mate with the female. It includes tongue kisses, neck massaging, and something like a hug. The theory was that they considered the same-sex interaction as a practice of the technique before they actually mate the female. And the penguins were also observed to pair up with the same sex in the zoo. And this particular pair of penguins, they have been trying to steal eggs from other street penguin couples until they were given an egg and successfully raised it. So, and there are so many different explanations for sexual orientations that there so far is no public agreement on any one of them. So the first explanation, this part of the brain called anterior hypothalamus. It is the part of the brain that controls sexual orientation and behavior by controlling the release of sexual hormones. Similarly, a social scientist found this part of homosexual men has more similarities in structure to the female than to heterosexual male. There are two sections in this part that are almost twice as big in male's brain than it is in female's brain. But in most of the 19 homosexual male brains that he did experiments on, he found out that these sections are nearly as small as females. However, the outcome of the discovery is complicated. It could be used by homophobes to prove that homosexuality is a kind of defect of the brain. But it can also be argued that homosexuality is just as natural as left-handedness. And second explanation. So in 1993, a team led by National Cancer Institute reported the genes for homosexual male are decided by XQ28. It is a large section on the X chromosomes. So chromosome is a tangled-up structure that is composed of DNA. It basically makes you the unique existence you are right now. And X chromosome is one of the two sex chromosomes in human bodies other than Y chromosome. The sex chromosomes are one of the 23 pairs of chromosomes in each cell. And females has 2 X chromosomes and male has 1 X and 1 Y chromosome. So the biologists found that the rate of homosexuality between maternal relations, which means the relations from your mother's side, is much higher than those of paternal relations, which means the relations from your father's side, which indicates that the genes that caused homosexuality might be related to this X chromosomes, since males always inherit the X chromosomes from their mothers. But this result has not been successfully replicated again by any other team, so it's still not convincing enough to be the whole cause of homosexuality. And the third explanation is right here. It is believed that instead of gene sequence, epigenetics might play a more important role in the cause of sexual orientations. So I have a little 1-minute video right here.
Wait, I've already done that one. What is epigenetics? Genetics is your genes. A gene has a unique sequence to make a protein that does something important. A genetic mutation is a change in one or more parts of the sequence. This could just make you, you. Or it could contribute to a genetic disease. An epigenetic change also changes the gene's DNA, but not at the sequence level. Instead, special marks are added or removed that might change how a protein works in the body. This could also contribute to disease. How these marks appear is a hot research topic, but some causes could be diet, stressors, or environmental pollutants. A genetic mutation is difficult to fix. With epigenetics, we could take a different approach to treating disease by finding ways to remove bad epigenetic marks or add good ones.
So this video actually focused more on disease, but so genetic change directly refers to the change of the DNA sequence. But epigenetics is more like adding multiple switches in the genes that can control the specific genes or whether turned on or turned off. It actually doesn't change the DNA itself. And as is mentioned in the video, the marks are attached to the DNA groups. Most of them would be erased as egg and sperm comes together to form the fetus, while some can actually be passed on through reproduction. So what that means is that a twin brothers could possibly be both homosexual, both heterosexual, or one homosexual and one heterosexual. The inheritance of marks also depends on like the position of the fetus in the womb, as well as how much blood supplies that it gets from the mother. And even this theory is also controversial because other scholars question that it needs more replicated groups of experiments to be more convincing. So far there is, actually, never mind. So far there is no exact answer with solid evidence to the research question. Scientists are still kind of in the middle of figuring out each piece of the cause. This project was initially designed to find out the explanation for sexual orientation, but I finally decided to make a slight change on the research purpose. So, and I'm still kind of in the process of doing it because it's already kind of involving morality and ethics. So I found reading related books would be more helpful for me to do the following researches. And I'm really excited about this because I'm really passionate about philosophy. And even if I haven't finished this project so far, I will continue to do it over the summer vacation. So, and it's been really meaningful for me, this project, this research process. I hope more people, especially people at my hometown, could hear about it. So my following plan is to give presentations at my hometown, in my neighborhood, and potentially at my middle school. So there were actually a lot of struggles while doing this. It was especially emotionally hard for me to talk about my friend. And I also actually did a few interviews with my friends who consider themselves as either homosexuals or bisexuals. But out of privacy and time concerns, I didn't put that part in my presentation. But still, one of my interviewees told me that she wanted to put a part of her interview in my presentation, so I chose to make it the end of this. This is what she said to me, and I translated from Chinese to English. They told me to be silent and to follow the rules made by nature, to reproduce for the family. They told me I would regret not having children when I'm old and all alone. But no, I said, I'm everything that you're ever afraid of. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you. No.
In that quote, there's a different perspective from a cultural perspective. Society. How would you be able to try and shift that perspective?
I honestly found that perspective finally also goes back to the issue of morality, because at least in China, it is usually considered that it's immoral not to have children, to to make this, to expand your family, to this is what it said, like to reproduce for a family. And if you choose, like, let's say if you're like a 30-year-old woman and not married, not having a child, you're kind of considered immoral in some degrees, by some people.
To reproduce for the family, which is, I think, probably a surrogate for society and the state. How do you try and modify that perspective when it is more prevalent than it would be in other countries? Maybe I'm not making that question as clear as it should be, but it's a political perspective, it's a cultural perspective. Where do you start?
I kind of wanted to actually introduce how it is the difference of the homophobic comments in China, or actually in Asia, and it's in the States. It's still like considering the time I didn't put it in, but there are actually huge differences. And because most of my friends are from China, and like basically my presentation is more of a Chinese American perspective, kind of in the middle. I wouldn't say like it's all American or all Chinese. Yeah, I'll probably add that section into my presentation if I get a chance to present it in my hometown.
So do you think that moderate Chinese versus American message should be changed when you go back home to be more of a local, to try to address local
Yes.
ideals?
Yeah. But I'll also introduce, like, I'll just kind of introduce how it is as in the States. Yeah, like when I come back home.
Nearly 2 billion people. How will you be able to do that?
How do you put this on? Oh. Wait, what? Did you flip it over?
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
It's alright. Actually, nice.
Thank you. No, it's okay. Well, hello. So I was supposed to say good evening, but I would say good night. But before I start this, I want to say thank you for staying. I'm grateful that you're staying to hear my presentation, even though it's like 10. So my presentation is about Japanese as a language and how I have approached it to learn it for future purposes to travel to Japan. So this is how I'm gonna. So 今日は私の20%プロジェクトを紹介します。Today, I will be introducing my 20% project. 日本語について話します。I will be talking about Japanese. So, アルファベットで始めましょう。So, I'll start with the alphabet. So, 日本には3つのアルファベットがあります。So, Japan has 3 alphabets or 3 scripts. And they're called hiragana, katakana, and kanji. So the first one. これはひらがなアルファベットです。So basically, hiragana is the most commonly known alphabet in Japan that they use the most because it's very simple to read. So in Japanese, they have 5 vowels. In English, we would say A, I, E, A, I, U, E, O, but they pronounce it A, I, U, E, O. So these are the first 5 vowels here. So these vowels make up other characters like ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, which would make up a single word in Japanese. So I have a short example. So my writing is not that good yet, but so gakusei. This means students, like in general. When you want to change it to like a particular group of students, like high school students, you just change the first thing. Like high school students, you would call them gakosei. Yeah, that's what I remember. So the next one is a alphabet for borrow English words or like foreign words in general. It's called katakana. So it still has 5 vowels, but different words are written in a different way. Like you can see, there's still 5 vowels, but it's written in a different way. So I have a very interesting example. So you see the word virus. In Japanese, they actually pronounce it like instead of virus, they pronounce it uirusu. They don't have the V, so they just call it uirusu. So it's something like this. this stands for U, and this stands for Y, for the I thing here. And Ru is this part, and Su. So each words are made up by different characters on that. Yeah. What? What was it? Yeah, they have the same pronunciation, but they have a different kind of like writing. Because it's for mostly foreign words. So the next one, most likely most of the Chinese kids would know. It's called kanji. So basically, it's Chinese, but the Japanese borrow it and use it. And actually, it's a very well-known and common alphabet in Japan because most of the books are written with kanji because it's so simple. With, as you can see here, the word students took 4 characters, but actually, with like 2 characters in kanji, it means the same thing. It's shortened. And it's pronounced the same way.
Is study.
Oh, it means students.
But I'm looking up on your chart here. It says there's study
Okay.
and a life of study.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
It's not. That's the meaning, but when you, I have an example in my grammar part that would like show that in different situation the character can mean different things. Okay. So next up, yes. Okay.
So,
Yes.
certain amounts of them are simplified.
Yes. Yes.
Some of them are actually
So I have Joey, you know him, Nani. He showed me a lot about Chinese characters, unsimplify and simplify, and you said that these are all mostly simplified.
almost all, but like
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah. Well, that's how Japanese approach borrowed Chinese characters. So I don't really know how the deep meaning, but I'm sorry. So commonness between hiragana and kanji, which one is more common? As I've mentioned, they are both commonly used in Japan because pretty easy to use. So apparently kanji is mostly used in writing, in books, or like even a message sent. You mostly use kanji because it simplifies things down. It shortens the amount of characters that you have to type. And internet issue. Oh, the Wi-Fi is not on. I'm sorry. And this may not make sense, but hiragana is also used in conversation, not like orally, but like in text as well. When they are like, oh, I don't want to use kanji because because you study kanji in elementary school, and some Japanese people, they don't remember it, so they use hiragana. So grammar. It's the next part. See that side. but I intended to do this in class. So I'm gonna do one. I have to, but so in English, we have the subject goes first, and then to be, which is mr, like that, and then the verb. But in Japanese, they actually switch it. So the subject also goes first, but they have something called particles that indicates the subject as a location or a subject in general. So it's particles, and then the object, and the verb goes last. Here's an example. So this means today is a good day. Apparently it's not. But so this word is wa. It's a particle that indicates that this part is a subject of the sentence. So basically all of these are the subject of the sentence. This word means today. And these characters are e. What is an adjective means good. And here, this word is he, means day. So you can see they're used differently, but they have the same meaning. But the next example that I have show that they have a different meaning as well. But and this word, it's like please. It makes the sentence sounds more polite for people, and in Japanese, politeness is very important. So this word is da, like desu, and then the word that I add on when I was introducing myself to make it more formal. But this word make this sense a little bit informal, like in chatting.
How would you be able to tell the difference between, I guess, the subject and the particle?
So there are a lot of particles that I can give example of. So particles. Wa, no, ga, ni, and a bit more. But they're different because most of the particles, there are only one characters, and they are very. You have to study them. There aren't really like a way that you can just read it and realize it, but you have to study them. You know them. But so these two particles indicate subject, like this today, and this particle indicate location. Like if you want to go somewhere, you'd say. My brain's not working. No, let's do this. It's also indicate location. So when you want to say, where's the train station? Eki no doko desu ka? So the word eki means train station. Like whenever you want to ask, you want to go somewhere, just add this particle in. Right? What? Yeah. And then you just change the subject. Like eki means train station, and it's not correctly spelled, but if you want to say you want to go to the grocery store, you can say konbini no doko desu ka? Where's the convenience store? So it's just straight up substituting the place you want to go. Just ask the same questions. That's why it's so easy for foreigners who come to Japan to ask them where to go. Okay, let's go over this part. Next up, why is Japan so useful? And I have a pretty short video, like a minute, of a survey that they did in Tokyo, which is the most popular city in Japan, about how often Japanese people use English, to show that learning Japanese would help foreigners.
This book only lets me check the odd-numbered questions. Is only half this stuff important?
I didn't buy YouTube Premium.
Sensitive. I see. Well, did you find Japanese? Okay. So far from your experience, do you think Japanese people can actually speak English?
I think pretty well, yeah, but more in places here in Shibuya, Shinjuku, and Harajuku. Where we're staying in Toshimaku, there's a lot more, like, it feels like real Tokyo. Like, that's where it's like, the English is a little less, and there's a lot less English on the menus, and I've been to Shizuoka a bunch for Sencha Farms, and there it's a lot less English too. So, depends really where you are, and if more foreigners come in the area, but yeah.
So it really depends on where you are, but mostly they don't.
When you first came to Japan, did you find that Japanese people spoke English or no?
Well, the place that I worked at had translators, so I mostly spoke English with the translator, and most other people didn't speak very much English at all.
And that was not in Tokyo?
Oh yeah, that was in Tokyo.
What about the locals, like train conductors, shop owners, restaurant owners?
So I think some people like to try and do a little bit of speaking English, but as for big conversations, it doesn't really happen a lot.
Yeah, both of the people said that depends on the place you stay, the place where you are, that people would be able to speak English, but mostly they don't. And that is what makes Japanese so useful for foreigners when they want to travel to Japan, because they don't want to be, oh, where I'm at, where I am, and the language barrier, and they couldn't ask anyone. So learning Japanese would help on that. And I would go into why Japan is such a great place to travel to, because I really want to travel there. But my dad sucks, and he doesn't. My dad doesn't allow me to go there. So, best part, useful phrases when you want to travel to Japan. It's a very, so when you say, when I first arrived in the States, the first thing I said was, excuse me, to ask like where I am and stuff. So in Japanese, it's called sumimasen. It means excuse me or sorry. And next one, can you speak English? Probably no one would speak it, but just make sure. Eigo o hanasemasu ka? Eigo o hanasemasu ka? Yeah. Here, this is what I said. So where is? Like you were asking where to go to a certain to go to a certain place. Something wa doko desu ka? Actually, I didn't use wa there, but yeah. So if you want to go to the train station, eki wa doko desu ka? Where's the train station? Yes. D-E-S. Yeah, they, instead of saying desu, they just make it short and fast. Deska. And it sounds more pleasant to hear as well. Yes. Well, this question would be very helpful as well. Where can I use the internet? Because it's worldwide, and then internet would help everyone. So どこでインターネットを使えますか? You see, they even pronounce internet this way. Japanese pronounce English words in their own way. It took me a while to practice to pronounce this, So that was mainly my presentation right now. And I want to go to my self-reflection part. So why did I choose this topic? So clearly, I have already shown my passion to go to Japan. So mostly it's because traveling. Who wouldn't want to go there when you really want to go there, like me? So this is the most beautiful place in Japan, Kyoto. It's one of the most popular city for travelers to travel to. She knows. It's a very beautiful place. Because this lighting thing is not working, I cannot show you like how beautiful this is. And the best thing that I'm very excited when I travel to Japan is their food.
Oh, that's the reason why you want to go.
It's no. There are plenty more reasons why I want to go, but this is one of them. Food. I'm not talking about sushi, instant noodles and stuff. I'm talking about street food. And in order to get those street food, you have to know Japanese. This project has helped me to have like a start, boost in Japanese. And what was the process to learn about your topic? So at first, I start with learning the alphabets because that's the most essential parts to approach Japanese. So apparently, I was able to master the first alphabet, the hiragana, and the second one, which is the katakana. The kanji, there are like 1,000 more kanji characters, a lot that I could not actually, because the Japanese people, they study kanji when it was in first grade. And I think in a year long like this wouldn't help me able to like master it. And yes, the process was really fun. I was trying to match my time in as well, balancing everything, and it turns out I've done pretty well, I think. It was pretty fun for me. And what have I learned? As I already mentioned, I learned the basic grammar rules, the two most essential Japanese. So yeah, I would continue during summer. Plenty of time to do whatever challenges faced. So at first, honestly, I was having trouble managing my time because sometimes I'm just lazy because I get to the room, I lay down, and oh yeah, but passion gets up, hooked me up, and now I'm here. And the next one is that I didn't know where to start. And one of the most useful thing that I've found on the internet is a website called Japanese Pod 101. As I showed you in class, they have like a full lesson, like 160 of them. That's the intermediate level. They have one more for expert and one more for beginners. Or like in total. They have descriptive pictures, very good teachers, and it's free. It's totally free. Couldn't believe it. It was free. And I was shocked. But actually, I was pretty dumb, and I was charged like $27 because I chose the wrong path. Best picture to represent that. So what did I learn about myself? I learned that I was being. What was the topic that Jacob and Edward did? Yes, procrastination. So sometime because I was having trouble managing my time. Like if I have like a chemistry thing on Thursday, I wouldn't work on it until like Wednesday night, anything. Which means it doesn't allow me to do this as well. So yeah, that's a very big part of this. I learned that I have to improve on that in order to be successful as a student at Worcester Academy. And I think that I have improved a lot because I improved my grade, everything up in most of the classes, but I screwed up here and there in some other classes. But I think I've learned a bit more about myself, that laziness is not good, and you have to overcome it, or else you're boom. And I learned that I did not realize that how much I like Japanese, because at first it was just something for entertaining, but after I research and like read articles and learn, like actually learning from Japanese people, I realized how passionate they are in their work, and how serious they are, and how polite they are in real life as well. I have plenty of Japanese friends. He's in Davao. His name is Kyoto. I don't know if you know them. And I had one more Japanese friend during the summer camp in my first year at Worcester Academy. His name was Junosuke, but unluckily he went back to Japan because he couldn't mix in with the community, and he felt, yeah. So that's everything I learned about myself, and this project was like such a big help for me. Give me a boost, give me motivation to continue this process of learning Japanese during the summer. And yeah, that's all of it. Thank you. And thank you to you too for staying.
No, I appreciate you doing this late. How often do you talk with your Japanese friends?
I have a Twitter account. Yes.
Here, you're on campus.
I have a Twitter account.
Oh, Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. So I have a lot of I made friends through games, through basically from friends I made here, and then they introduced me, blah blah blah, and then I got my name got overseas, and then they just know me, and then whenever they play something, they just tweet at me, "Oh, Oliver, you want to play?" And I just go play with them. Yes. That was the most important thing to do. Yes. Currently, yes. So for high school students like us, we have plenty of work to do at school, a lot of work. So it'll be a trouble. Like you see, students at Worcester Academy have to go through like 4 year, like a 4 year of a language, like Len 1, Len 2, Len 3, Len 4, and then AP in order to master a language. And even in the United States, they pronounce things differently. They cannot pronounce those words. They couldn't pronounce it. They Su. Yeah. So that's the big part. A lot of people struggle to like change the pronunciation. But a lot of people, like exchange students from America, was able to master it, and it was impressive. I watched some of their videos on YouTube, and they were very good at Japanese. Did that answer your question? Thank you. Do you have any more questions? Oh, how would this benefit the Worcester Academy community? Here we go again. So yeah, there aren't much Japanese on campus. You can see like one or two. I mean, in order to make them, as a part of this community, we have to help them to blend in. And by learning a bit about their language, this is how I say, "How are you? How are you today?" It would make them feel even better. Yes. What? If you want to ask how are you, it would be Genki desu ka? Yeah. Genki desu ka? Can you repeat that? I could not. I don't think that a work by myself as a non-Japanese would actually influence that. I would most likely it's for like it's a bit fortune thing, but I'd say if more Japanese come to the Worcester Academy community, that would help bringing Japanese to the world or to the States, because I cannot do this alone. For me.
Why don't we put together a proposal for the World Language Department?
Yes, that would be a great idea, because according to what I know, a lot of schools in high schools offer Japanese. But our school does not offer Japanese. Like, I was pretty shocked, but you know, it's
Presentation to the World Language Department.
I wouldn't. I was not, you know, confident in myself with that. Was that I to actually bring Japanese as a course to Worcester Academy. You know, it costs money to hire employees, and it would, because people in Worcester Academy, there are some people taking Latin, French, Spanish, and what was the other thing? I don't remember. What? Mandarin, yes. And I think Mandarin would be a more popular language to study if you want to go to Asia, because Japanese is very limited in Asia, because it's mostly in Japan that people use it. So I don't know what the school like consider my suggestions to be.
It's not about being successful in getting accepted. It's about
Bringing it out.
and making
Yes. I can ask my friend Dave to help me. Wow. One support. I can do it. Yes.
You want me to set it up?
Not now. I have other things.
When do you go home?
The 31st.
Of May.
Yes.
You want me to talk to Dr. Markey?
Yes. Sure. Sure. Let's go.
Thank you.
How was it?
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.